Hello guys, this is DK Uncovered. So what I want to share with you today is very important. So stay with me till the end and don't forget to like and subscribe. Subscribe guys, yeah? Subscribe. So I want to share with you the books you can use to motivate you, to have a positive mindset, to always look on the bright side. Especially with this time, most people are stuck inside. This is the perfect time to read, to learn more, to motivate yourself. Because I know when you have nothing to do, we all like to focus on negative things. When your mind has nothing to do, it normally focuses on negative things, or it just wanders around and starts controlling you. So this is the perfect time to focus on encouraging things, motivating things, things that can push you or can help you take actions, right? So I've picked few books on my shelf that I feel like can help you and encourage you a bit more and understand your mind as well. So the first one that I want to talk about is this one, right? Now, the first time I read this book, I didn't understand much about the mind, especially the conscious mind or the subconscious mind, and how important, how much your mind controls your destiny, right? So this is one of the first books that I read that gave me a clear understanding of why you need to be aware of your thoughts and your emotions. This book is called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. It is very important. I think you guys need to pick this up. If you want to control your destiny, if you want to alter your life, if you want to change your circumstances, you need to understand how your mind works. You need to understand what you need to do, the steps you need to take, right, towards your destiny or your dreams. So, and like I said, you need to be aware of your thoughts. I remember there was this woman that wanted to find her dream partner. She was a bit old. I think she was in her 50s or 60s. And these books talked about how she used her mind, or how she affirmed during midnight, right? How she affirmed and how she at the same time visualized her dream partner. And it talks about why at midnight is very important in your sleepy, drowsy state, why you need to think about positive things or see yourself accomplishing your goals, because during those times is when your conscious mind retires, and that's when your subconscious mind is in full active. And that's why it's important to always think about encouraging things before you go to bed. So look for this book, read it, and I'm telling you, it will give you a bright insight about yourself and the reasons why you are where you are in life right now. Yeah, so make sure you guys pick this book up. Now this one too is by Florence Scovel Shinn, whatever her name is, right? And I've read 3 books out of this, right? The first one is what? The Game of Life, Your Word is Your Wand, The Power of the Spoken Word, and The Secret Door to Success. Now, to be honest, the 2 that you should be reading is The Game of Life and The Secret Door to Success. Because I know for sure, most of us, the things we say is what blocks us from achieving our goals or becoming successful in life. And this book talks about that. For example, and what makes me love this book as well is that it talks about the Bible as well. It's like a metaphysics, isn't it? Like, it will name a quote, yeah. Let's say, I can do all things through Christ who strengthened me, right? And then it would explain to you what that does to you, and how important to always read the Bible or any religious book to encourage you. Like, I like the fact that she she mixed her teachings, her psychological teachings, with the Bible and even other great books, right? So that's what makes me like this lady's writings. I think it's very important. I've not explained it fully to you guys, but it will give you few affirmations you can use on the daily basis. If you're religious, this book is one of the best books, right? Because it is practical at the same time, and at the same time too, like, it is talking about other religious books, like I said, like a Bible, right? And it doesn't only make you understand things or the Bible from the theological standpoint, it allows you to understand it from a psychological standpoint as well, right? And other important, things that you can understand, not just through the Bible. There's other few things that you could understand with her teaching. Anyway, this one too is by Norman Vincent Peale. You can if you think you can. Now this is very important, because everything that we want to do, everything that we've accomplished, everything that we want to attract in our lives, whether big or small, it is all in your mind. The first action or the first step you need to take is in your mind. So if you think that you can become the best person in the world or the richest man in the world, right, then you can. And if you think you can't, you won't become that person that you want to be. So it teaches you the steps. It talks about what do you call it, the stories that you can relate to, right? About this guy, he had a problem with his one of his legs, right? And he wanted to be what do you call it, an American football player, but obviously he had few problems in it, like a few problems that normally most people would think is a disability, but with this guy, he did not allow that to be what do you call it, a disadvantage. He allowed it to be an advantage for him. So he practiced his shooting, he practiced all the things that he needed to do to become a football player, right? So it goes down to show you that we only think we can't do something if we focus on the what do you call it, I would say the handicaps we have, right? If we think that, oh, I don't have my phone is not good enough for me to start a YouTube channel, or I don't have a camera, or I don't, you know what I'm saying, I can't speak English properly, or you see, we are finding all these handicaps that could stop us. Well, read this book, bruv, because if you think you can, you can. And this same book is from Dr. Vincent Norman Peale as well, Power of Positive Thinking. This is a bit similar to this lady's teaching. Now let me explain to you why. Because he was a reverend, didn't he? He's a reverend. He works with psychiatrists as well, right? And it's like I said, you see, the Bible is important to understand it from others' point of view, isn't it? Right? And to be honest, reading these books gave me a clear understanding of the Bible. So because it is, even Jesus Christ, most of his teachings were psychological as well. It's not just from a theological standpoint. A lot of the things he said were very psychological. And when you read these books, right, and even this book by Joseph Murphy, right, and his other teachings, right, like the magic of faith, and some of his teachings, it talks about the Bible. It brings Bible verses in it. It talks about Jesus' teachings and other things, right? For example, like I said, in the Bible, it says what? Don't let the sun go down on your wrath, right? Like I said, it talks about why you shouldn't go to bed thinking about negative things. In your sleepy, drowsy states, don't focus on negative things. Focus on what you want. Visualize, relax, and just focus on what you want. And like I said, these people, if you don't have enough confidence in yourself, if you're facing hard times, these type of books, Power of Positive Thinking, is one of the best books that you can use to encourage you to take the right steps. Most people I know don't have confidence in themselves. This book can teach you how to develop enough confidence, right? Affirmation, like I said, affirmation is very important. You need to start adding that to your daily routine, right? And these books, all these books will teach you well, what do you call it, the affirmations, or can give you the affirmations you can use. This one too, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. This book is very good. Probably my top 5 this year. These books are not in my top 5, but this book is in my top 5, right? Actually, I'm lying. I would say that you can, if you think you can, it's in my top 5 as well, right? But this book, see, like I always said, I've made a video about this before. Most of your problems is in your mind. Most of our problems is in our mind, right? And this book at times gives you steps you need to take to overcome your worry, right? And the things you can do to overcome your problems at work, right? And the problems in your daily lives. For example, right, I made a little note one time. I remember writing this, right, how to overcome your worry problems. And one of the points it says was what? Ask yourself, what is the worst that can happen? For example, if you have no money to pay your rent, right, or if you get sacked at your workplace, instead of being scared and overthinking and shaking and worrying and telling all your problems to people, this book teaches you. Sit down, get a piece of paper, and think about the worst that could possibly happen. Have the courage to think about the worst that could possibly happen. Now, most people might say that is not a good idea thinking about it, because that will make you scared a bit more. But at times, you know, we when we don't think properly, and when something happens in our lives, you just think, oh my God, how am I going to pay my rent? Or how am I going to find another job? So you think about the words that could happen and write it down. And then the next thing that you need to do is prepare to accept it. Prepare to accept it. Accept it, right? And then calmly proceed to improve the worst, right? So you've been sacked and your rent is due in the next 2 weeks, right? Instead of being scared, you think about the worst that could happen and then be prepared for it. Once you are prepared for the worst that could happen, now calmly proceed to improve it. How can you find a way to improve on the worst that has happened? Majority of us, once we face any problems, we allow that to cripple us and we don't even find any way to improve us. Now, I've tried this practice before, and I'm telling you, as soon as I wrote the worst that could happen or the worst things that could happen, and I started thinking about it, I realized that it wasn't even so bad. It wasn't even so bad, right? And I just realized that, wait, actually, I could think about and find other ways I can improve it instead of being scared and using all these fear to cloud my thinking, right? Now I know that it's not too bad. I'm not scared. Let me just face it and let me write down how I can improve from there. You know what I mean? It talks about a few things. It talks about why you need to always be busy. You know, always needs to get on job and do something with yourself in your time. You know what I mean? Because when you're not busy, it talks about so many things, man. So yeah, you make sure you check this book out. And I feel like this is probably the most important one. These two, I feel like it's the most important books you need to read. These two should be your first books you need to buy. Anyway, the last one is The Magic of Thinking Big. Now, I'm not really going to explain much about this book, but through my own observation about life, you need to think big, bruv. No matter how shit you are at something, right? Whether you are good, bad, whether you don't have enough knowledge, whether you are starting from the bottom, always think big. See, thinking big is what could change your life, bro. Because everything, like I said, starts with a desire, right? Imagination, you start thinking about an idea, then you have that desire to take actions, and then you start doing it. So if you have an idea, but then your idea, right, it's a very good one, and you start thinking about it in a small, you think, maybe let me just, all right, I want to have my own little business by myself, and I just do it by myself, and that's all. I'm just going to play safe. You always play safe. You always not have the bigger picture. You know what I'm saying? You always think, oh, let me just keep it that way. But if you say, right, that's a good idea. Okay, maybe I could build a big company out of it. Even if you just started and you start thinking like that, and you start writing all these things down, right? You will get a bigger picture. Most people these days, if you ask them, right, no matter where they are right now, if you ask them, like, who do you want to be? And they'll tell you, and sometimes their dream is so small, like they don't even think they can even achieve that. And then you ask someone that doesn't know much, right? He doesn't know much about whatever he wants to do. He's not even a smart person. They think big, and then they even start taking actions, bro. And that's why it's important. If you start thinking big and you believe that you can actually achieve all these things, you never give up, bro. You start to go quick. You start to push yourself. You start to be consistent. But if you think small and then something hard happens, something tough happens, right, you will give up because you're thinking small anyway. You see what I'm trying to say? It's like it's impossible in your eyes anyway. But if you think big, you always constantly think big. I can do it. I am the best. I'm going to have my own Netflix show, or I'm going to create my own Netflix, right? Something similar to Netflix, so I can have my own NBC in the future, whatever it might be, my own Microsoft as well, bro. That is big thinking, bro. That is big thinking, and I'm telling you, no matter how hard it gets, you know that in order for you to achieve big things, you need to face the hard things. See, when we face hard times, we get bigger rewards. If you face small problems and you deal with it in a small way, you get only smaller rewards, isn't it? And that's why it's important to always think big, bro. You think big, no matter how hard it gets, right? You know that your rewards or your returns will be much more bigger. You know what I mean? So get this book as well, Magic of Thinking Big. I can't pronounce his last name here, so I'll show it to you here, bro. You know what I mean? But yeah, these books are very good. So yeah, make sure you cop these books here. Make sure you buy these books. Make sure you cop them. But yeah, let me give you one of the chapters. I read this book. I read it 2 years ago, right? So even I can't remember exactly a lot of the things in there, right? But most of my videos I talk about, it's a bit similar to this book anyway. What it talks about. So yeah, make sure you guys check this book, innit? See, it says what? You are what you think you are. If you think you can, bruv. It's a similar, see? So yeah, make sure you guys get this book here. It's a think right towards people, which is, I agree. Think right towards people. When you meet people, I remember Power of Positive Thinking gave one of the most important techniques. Most people want to be happy. Most people want to find their love partners. So most people want people to love them back, respect them. But in order for you to love people, in order for people to love you and respect you, you need to show respect to people and love them. So one of the ways you could get love and happiness from people, and even in your own life, is by one of the ways that this book talked about, is by praying. Praying for when you walk in the street and you see a bus driver, you see another driver, you see a kid, you see anyone, pray for them. In a short time, pray for them. You know what I mean? For example, you could even say, I bless you with happiness, progress, and prosperity, right? Prayers, basic prayers, you know what I mean, for people. And I'm telling you, start feeling good about yourself, because I've tried most of these techniques in these books. So I know exactly the power behind it, you know what I mean, and how much you can improve with these books. I have other books on my shelf. If you want me to continue with other ones, I'll make sure I talk about that, right? But anyway, before I finish, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you to all my subscribers. I really appreciate your support. Thank you to everyone that stayed to the end. Have a wonderful day, guys.